Overall, I think it is important to understand that we have limited control of many things in our life. Proverbs 27 verse 1 says, "Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring forth." Isolation and quarantine were two things I never signed up for in 2020. However, it has become an opportunity to reflect on a great deal of things. If not reflection, I think the time was given in order to fully understand my core beliefs. Before I begin today's video, I think it's important to note that I didn't rank these things or lessons from most important to least important. Some may necessarily carry more weight than others depending on what stage of your journey or reflection you are in, but I think each one has their individual weight, purpose, and one doesn't necessarily outrank each other in terms of importance. You check what I'm saying? So the first thing that I meditated on a while is that the things that we deem absolutely necessary can be forgone. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, look at me. I'm here sitting and it's kind of crushing me internally to not have a lineup and my failed attempt at a beard gone. I mean, while I could take my dad's tools and just fix my face, I'd probably end up looking something like this. And that's not what I'm trying to do. It's funny because I would always think that before I get on video or if I want to record something, that I must have this prim and proper look, as we would say in Grenadian terms, before I get on camera. It's been a mentality with me for so long that I've actually not done videos. I've had whole concepts written, whole scripts, and I've yet to put it to film simply because I wasn't up to par in terms of how I'm looking. Definitely this is something that I've realized I can go without. As soon as quarantine is over, I will run to my barber shop. After a while, I'm gonna make some time pass. Can't trust you, COVID. But it's something that, look, I'm able to do this without having this in my life. I think that applies for many things. There's the fact that we no longer have access to the gym, but you could still exercise. You no longer have access to certain places that would probably groom you up. You could probably do it yourself. You may not have access to your favorite cake store, bake a cake. Things that we deem absolutely necessary can be avoided. We don't need to go by the bar every weekend to drink. While it is a way to find that happiness, or maybe the places we go to give us a certain level of pleasure or joy, there is no absolute need for it, and we can go without that. And I think in point 3, I elaborate a bit further on maybe not necessarily a coping mechanism for that, but I think a much more healthier approach for that issue. Coming in at number 2, I learned that we are small. I'm simply saying that we think that we're divided by so many seas and land masses, and COVID-19 has shown us that because of the way we have evolved, the way we do business with each other, the way trade is done, globalization on a whole, we're becoming so much smaller that in an instant, something that was discovered all the way in Wuhan is now in Grenada and many various parts of the world. It's funny to think that I was just, meditating on it for a while. We have been affected by COVID-19, and strangely enough, think about it, maybe at one point a majority of the world was inside under quarantine conditions and lockdown conditions and curfew conditions. It means that at one point we were probably all doing the same thing, and it means to show you that sometimes you think we're so beyond or big or these things won't affect us because of our size, because of who we are, where we live, and really and truly we're all connected, and if we fail to recognize that, then we can see the dire consequences that spill over from that ignorance. And I think it's a good reflection. It kind of takes away from my self-absorbed mentality. I don't really necessarily have one, but it's a good way to kind of zoom out and look at a bigger perspective, that you're not even a dot on the dot. I live on a dot on the map, and I'm not a dot on that dot, so think about that. Coming in third, which feeds back into the first point that I was talking about, is that serenity or peace of mind is internal. I've been reading a book recently which actually spoke about that, and I've been learning more about yoga from the book, meditation, everything like that has been kind of fed to me through my reading. I've been reading a lot of things throughout quarantine. I mean, I have time. And it showed me that, coming back to point one, where we think we have all these external factors that contribute to this serenity, peace of mind, this sort of success for a daily routine. You could do that from within yourself. For example, the gym is no longer there. You can exercise for yourself. In fact, I could scroll through YouTube and find that a mass of YouTubers have now started turning their exercise programs into quarantine workouts, stuff you can do from home. Of course, the calisthenics OGs were always there, but I mean, it's an opportunity for you to realize that, hey, I want to be in shape. That's the end goal. I don't want to go to the gym to flex. I mean, a lot of us do that, doing it for the gram, but that's no longer an option, really. And it kind of shows you that self-investment goes a long way. I kind of put some stuff together just in case anything ever went wrong with a gym, that I could still probably get a workout in. It's a kind of Batman self kind of mentality. I've got to have a contingency plan, and this was one of it. And definitely, I'm saying that even if you don't even have access to these bars, these places where you kind of get that little rush of joy or pleasure, you could do that at home or find it within yourself. You see, because sometimes we are upset with our
sometimes means occasionally rather than all of the time.
Hey Siri. Siri just wanted to join in on the conversation. To this place where we think that everything is supposed to be from these external factors, when we don't realize that we could generate it ourselves. And I think that was very important for me to note. Like I said, I've been reading, getting a bit into yoga, understanding all of these aspects, because even if I would call myself a Christian, I think it's important to gather knowledge from a variety of places. A wise man once said that you can't just get knowledge from one place, but rather gather it from many places, because that one knowledge you hold on to could become rigid and stale, and nobody wants rigid and stale mentalities. So I think it's important to understand the importance of meditation, prayer, sitting down, even journaling. Journaling was very important to me at the start of the year, and I'm seeing its benefits throughout this time, even noting how I'm feeling. What am I feeling about COVID-19? How am I coping? It's important to write these things down, because these lessons that you would learn from here can easily be forgotten. But once you put it to pen and paper, you form a connection with it on a deeper level. And of course, I think that's the most important thing to take away. Number 4, and last on the list, adaptation is not a choice, but it is a necessity for survival. So what I've noticed, sadly, about the whole lockdown situation is that many persons actually went out. They just went crazy at the supermarkets. They needed to get everything, because of course there's a mentality that a food scarcity is soon on its way. I'm not too sure about how true that is or how valid that is, but that was definitely a mentality that everyone had, this sort of panic buying. And the sad thing about it is they went out, they bought all these groceries, and then they still eat 4 meals 5 meals a day and snack in between. I mean, what's the point? You're just running up a bill that you never incurred before and then eating more. You should be eating less. You should be learning to conserve, and I think that's part of the adaptation. In a case where there really is a bigger crisis than even coronavirus, you need to learn how to lessen down. I mean, we've done it in my household. I mean, there's no food scarcity necessarily coming around the way that I know of. Of course, I may be ill-informed, but we understand that, look, there are allocated shopping days. You won't be able to eat what you always wanted. Prices can fluctuate because supermarkets can do that. Even the regulatory bodies can step or should be stepping in. You never know what's really going on. And people are just using it as normal. As a university student, I'm now having to adapt to an online platform, and I could just sit down and be complaining that my true experience is through interacting with my classmates in real life, my lecturers in real life. I like the classroom setting. I have to be there. I need to feel the AC, blah blah blah. But I don't have that option anymore. So that absolute necessity is gone. So you see how it feeds back into point one. But that doesn't mean learning stops. I can still learn. I have to go to online classes. My lecturers provide the notes. They provide the slides. They still provide support. And I'm really thankful for that. And that is adaptation. I could just simply sit down and just fail the rest of the semester, but I had to adapt for the online classes. So it's something that one day when things get worse, because I always assume the worst will and can happen. If something can go wrong, it will go wrong. Yeah, you're gonna need to learn how to adapt, or maybe not learn, but realize that the choices you previously had, that's no longer an option. So get ready, buckaroo, because things are about to change. And at the end of it all, I think the overarching message that I have with this video is that we really don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's so out of control because we could make so many plans and then none of it happens. None of it happens. And that's why in the moment now, this is when you have the most control. How you react to things, that's when you have the most control. Who you can be right now is the most powerful state you are in. Who you are tomorrow may not necessarily even be stronger. You could be dead. You could be dead.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
But anyways, guys, thanks for looking at this video. If you like this stuff, of course, like it, subscribe, share the video, follow, I don't know, start a discussion on whatever platform this is on. What are some things you learned in quarantine? What have you learned from self-isolation?